Hey everybody, Wyduck here again. This time on Newkirk Precinct. We've got a set of replays from the 2013 EPS Summer 2013 edition. And in the bottom left, spawning as the red Protoss, we've got the German Tarrantius. And his opponent, who is also German, is spawning in the bottom right. As the purple Terran, we've got Goody. As Goody is going to open up with the supply depot at the ramp. Very normal play. Tarrantius getting the pylon close to his nexus. And we'll have to find out who's going to be able to win this game. Newkirk Precinct is a favorite in regards to cheesing your opponent. I don't see any inklings of that occurring in this matchup. But, you know, some players like to cheese. Some viewers like to watch cheese. I'm one of those players that like to watch cheesy plays. I don't mind the 2 proxy barracks rush or marauder rush with just 1 tech lab. I don't mind 6 pools. I think it gives the game a really fresh dynamic, as players can't assume that they can always just safely, you know, go Nexus first, Command Center first, and that there is always not only just a sense of danger, but a real danger, especially for those proxy rushes. And I kind of make it akin to, if you're playing tennis, if you come to the net, you basically force your opponent to make the goods. They have to hit the shot perfectly to get around you and to hit the corners, basically, of the court. Otherwise, you're going to put them out of position and you're going to put away that volley. So that's what I kind of make, you know, proxy rushes akin to in regards to tennis. So Goody looks like he's going to be getting his orbital command, has his refinery down, but he's already stopped gas. So it looks like he's going for the reactor. Yes, he is going to put the reactor on the barracks. Tarrantius is just getting his cybernetics core. It's about halfway done now. And we've got Goody's SCV halfway across the map. He's going to be scouting, trying to figure out what's going on in the Protoss side of town. And we've also got this lone SCV here, and this is interesting. This SCV is looking for proxies. Not sure about the timing, because we're already at the 4-minute mark, and if there were going to be proxies, there's so many positions. If you're just going to check one, the proxies could have been here, for example, or down over here. You wouldn't be able to find them, so I'm kind of curious about that pathing. But the SV is going to get a full scout on that Protoss base. Micro by Tarrantius allows that Zealot to get an extra swipe on this SCV. And with the mothership core here, this SCV might get blown up, and it looks like it's going to be done. And there we go. Great play by Tarrantius getting that SCV. Remember, he microed that Zealot to chop and move, and then chop again. So if he wasn't going to micro that SCV, probably would have escaped. And you might think, well, it's just 50 resources. What does it matter? Well, 50 resources at the beginning of the game is a much larger loss, proportionately, than at the 40-minute mark of a game. So, not a big loss for Goody, but it is still resources, and that is something to keep a note of. And with this lone barracks with the reactor, Goody has amassed quite a few Marines. He's getting his second command center up, as well as the factory and the second refinery, so Goody is just humming along. Tarrantius' nexus at the natural is almost complete as well, and he's actually got a Stargate on the far left side of his base. So trying to hide that Stargate on the far side. And Goody is going to be getting a starport himself. And he's getting mines as well, so it looks like it might be a mine and marine drop. And even though this is a lot of Marines, you do have to remember, at this point in the game, because there is no tech reactor, or sorry, there is no tech lab, and there are no additional barracks, there won't be stim and there won't be combat shields. So these Marines will be vastly inferior to the Marines we're used to seeing later on in the game, but they can still pack a punch if you want to blow up some harvesters. So that is important. We got one engineering bay going down for Goody. And it looks like we got Phoenixes on the way for Tarrantius. An interesting choice. Phoenixes do destroy Marines very easily, as Marines do have light armor. So it only takes a few shots from Phoenixes. And Goody is lining up his mines here. It looks like he's going to be going just with one starport. And here's a hallucinated Phoenix. And this is really interesting. When you send in a hallucinated Phoenix, or just one Phoenix into a Terran base, generally Terran players will think, well, I don't think that's a real Phoenix because it's taking so much damage. It doesn't do any damage to my medevac. But then, if there are additional medevacs, if there are additional Phoenixes, Terran player might think those are hallucinated as well. But unfortunately for Goody, when he finds those Phoenixes, he's going to find out they are real and they do pack a punch. And Goody's actually going to have a split attack. He's going to be harassing at the natural, at the ramp, and with the drop. Interesting play, but he immediately sees the 4 Phoenixes and is going to boost away. And now it looks like all his troops are going to rally in front of the ramp to the natural of Tarrantius' base. He is getting tanks behind this as well, and tanks are very lethal in this combination. The Nexus Cannon does go down. The mines are going to bury. But no real significant damage done. As now Goody's going to wait around for that Nexus Cannon to subside before pushing in further. And Goody, realizing there's so many Phoenixes here, he's starting to build Vikings. Vikings are very good against Phoenixes because Vikings have additional range. But Phoenixes are much quicker, and so if Vikings are caught in a difficult position, they cannot escape. But I'm still wondering about this attack because these Marines still don't have stim. They do not have combat shields, and so they're very weak. Gonna lose a couple Marines here due to force field. The turrets and the mines are gonna activate. Some of the zealots do go down. Resources lost are slightly in favor of Goody, but remember, he's built a lot of units just for this attack. And so it didn't do a lot of damage. And so I think for Tarrantius, this is a pretty good hold. And now with a huge squadron of Phoenixes darting across the map, looks like Tarrantius is going to be the one on the offensive side. Going to try and see if he can pick up some SCVs, do some economic damage. There is a lone turret here, and this is going to prevent a lot of harass. And with all these Marines as well, it's going to be difficult for these Phoenixes able to pick up the SCVs that are constructing buildings, and that's oh so annoying for Terran players. Able to pick up 3 more SCVs, but he's going to lose a Phoenix, so that's not a great trade for Tarrantius. Able to destroy 6 workers up to this point. But I don't think that was a great trade, losing a Phoenix for just a few SCVs. Tarrantius is going to put down his 3rd Nexus. The 3rd command center for Goody is complete, but isn't floated over to the 3rd area yet. And Tarrantius already has a proxy pylon set up, and the Phoenixes are going to come in for another run-by. And remember, because this missile turret is so far to the left, there's nothing protecting the right side of this mineral line. The Vikings are going to come in here, but remember, they cannot run, so they're going to have to be able to deal with this force. And because these Marines, like I said before, do not have stim, they're not able to catch up. The Phoenixes are going to be able to dart away. And that's so annoying for a Terran player. And Goody is slightly behind in supply, but not by that much. So this is still anyone's game. We've got Zealot Charge and Infernal Pre-Igniter on the way, and this will be interesting. Zealot Charge is very useful as you're able to just immediately get up to the Marines and start chopping away at them. But do you really want to do that once the Hellbats and Hellions get blue flame, as Zealots just totally get eaten up by that blue flame? We've got the Observer from Tarrantius able to scout the entire incoming raiding party. Goody puts out a scan, not able to see very much. And now it looks like we're going for another encounter. The mine is going to bury. These tanks are out of position, and remember, these Marines are very squishy. No combat shields, no stim, able to do some damage, but these tanks are not sieged up. Another scan does go down, and it looks like Tarrantius is going to fall at this point. Or no, it looks like Goody's not going to be able to survive. Initially, I thought with all those Marines, he was going to be able to do something. But now with the two Immortals here, they just eat tanks for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And look at that Hellbat waddle away. And we've got this lone Oracle just poking away at the siege tank, doing 15 damage at a time. Finally, Tarrantius is going to micro it, and this tank is not going to be able to survive. Finally, it goes down. This Hellbat also gets blown up. Oracle with 6 kills, so great Oracle. At the same time, we've got 2 Hellbats harassing the third base of Tarrantius. The pylons are going to withdraw, but there is no medevac here. These Zealots are going to go down as well, so we still got a lone Hellion from Goody, and it's just going to hold position at that mineral line, and that's going to force Tarrantius to do something else, to send more units. He's going to start by building 2 cannons, and here come the Zealot charges. Great positioning by that Hellbat, only allowing 1 Zealot to get close, and that Hellbat did a lot of splash damage to all those Zealots. So that was a very good play by Goody, but he's still behind in this game in regards to resources lost. And it looks like he can go for another Hellbat drop. Able to kill 8 probes up to this point. Is he going to be able to claim more Protoss blood? Well, it's not really blood because they're probes. Is he going to be able to claim more Protoss oil? Mechanical oil, maybe. And we'll have to see, as the 4th Nexus is already halfway complete. Goody has not been able to get his 4th base. In fact, he doesn't even know that there's a proxy pylon here, it looks like. And now, another Hellbat drop is coming in. The boost is going to speed this up, but unfortunately, there are 2 cannons here, and so these Hellbats are going to be scared away. The probes are going to recollect themselves, and now with a large Zealot and Immortal force, it looks like this medevac is not going to be able to do too much. It's going to boost away into the corner and just hang out for a bit. So unfortunately, Goody's harassment has failed. With so many cannons and so many Immortals and Zealots on the way, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to harass very much from now on. He's going to have to find a way. Otherwise, those Hellbats are going to lose their advantage. They're just so good at destroying miners. And now with Templars waiting around, Hellbats are going to drop, and it looks like a lot of these probes are going to go down. 3 probes are eaten up by those Hellbats, but this last Hellbat is very slow, not going to be able to do much. Able to scare away some of the probes, but he's just going to be walking into another cannon, and finally this Hellbat is going to, well, I'm not sure where he's going. There's still that burning wheel, but now he's finished. And Goody is falling slightly behind, and very interesting, he has the barracks with the tech lab. He's going to be getting some ghosts. Ghosts are very good. They're able to drop down some EMPs. And with so many Templars, not only do you want EMPs, you also want snipes. As Terran armies generally are very, very immobile and slow, and this is probably one of the first times I've seen a Terran player in Heart of the Swarm go for mech against Protoss, because generally you do not want to go mech against Protoss because you have a mobility issue. Phoenixes are so fast, they can recall, you've got storms on you, and Colossus thermal lances, and so generally you don't want this slow big army. You want an army that can move around, but Goody's opted for mech, and we'll have to see at the conclusion of this game if it works out. I'll be very happy if it does, because it'll be the first time that I've seen it work. And it looks like Tarrantius is going to be the aggressive one here, moving in here to fight off some of these Hellbats. But with all this siege tank fire, I don't think it's going to be very worthwhile focusing down on that cooling tower, and now it's just a bunch of debris. And I find this so odd. It's only siege tanks and Hellbats. There are no Thors in this composition. And there's also no Hellions. And arguably, Hellions might be better if you want to harass. Maybe because you don't need the medevac. You can just dart around the map. And while this is going on, you have to remember that the 4th base for Tarrantius has been completed for quite a while now. We're 20 minutes into the game. And Goody still doesn't have his 4th up. And so this cannot bode well for the Terran player, as if you keep giving your opponent so many more minerals than yourself, obviously, you're just going to have a much more difficult battle, a much higher hill to climb. He's going to clean up some of these proxy pylons with these Hellbats. Actually microing this Hellbat quite well, but unfortunately it's not going to work out for those Hellbats. The proxy pylons are still here. Both of them are still intact. Now, it might not play a role right now, as the Protoss player Tarrantius is maxed out. At the same time, there is a confrontation at Goody's 4th, and this isn't a planetary fortress, so it can't defend itself. Goody's going to have to constantly bring units here to defend, but we've got so many Immortals. I'm really curious. We've got 10 Immortals, and this is just a huge amount of Immortals here. I haven't seen 10 Immortals in a long time, and these tanks have to be very diligent. They only do 10 damage when the Immortals have shields, and there's going to be a recall here. Some of the units do get destroyed. One Immortal does go down. There's the corpse. But most of the army was able to get away. And now with Blink and Thermal Lance coming into effect, Goody is going to be moving across the map, going to try and do some damage. And with this lone Zealot here at the 4th, it's going to do a lot of damage. There's a charge, and Goody's going to have to send some units to deal with this. These SCVs are falling like flies. There goes 2. And able to fire down on that missile turret. Still no Terran reinforcements at this 4th base. And we've also got harassed at the natural as well. 2 SCVs are just chopping away at them. These Zealots are paying for themselves, but the 4th base from Tarrantius is going to go down. There's just way too much siege tank firepower here. Not going to be able to hold on. Both players are harassing each other, and this Oracle is going up from 6 kills up to 12, 13, and 14, able to kill 8 SCVs in a span of a few seconds. The natural also isn't mining, and we got a warp in of Zealots at the main as well. And the Ghost Academy does go down immediately. We've got Thors and Hellbats trying to deal with this. At the same time, we got a huge confrontation in the middle map with a whole bunch of Immortals and Colossi. These siege tanks are sieging up, but siege tanks don't do that much to the shielded Immortals. The Immortals and Colossi are going to fall back. So big confrontation in the middle of the map, but remember, Goody is not mining from his 2nd or his 4th, and we still got Zealots hacking away, and now these orbital commands are also under extreme stress. They're going to meet their maker at the same time. I don't know why Goody's not lifting. He's able to lift a couple of them, but 2 of them still do go down, and it looks like this is going to be old-fashioned base race here. Goody is not coming back to deal with this. He's got a lot of siege tanks here on the high ground, but remember, there's no minerals for the Terran player, and he is behind 30 supply. So it will be up to Goody to make this base race worth it, because he is not mining. He's stuck on 30 minerals, focusing down on these gateways. The 3rd base of Tarrantius is still coming in with a few minerals, and Goody's going to siege up here, and here's the siege tank firepower. You got to watch out. The feedbacks do go down. The ghosts are splattered. There are a whole bunch of corpses. Look at that blood. And we got a warp in of Zealots to the left, and we also got a whole bunch of charging Zealots to the right, and this Goody force is not going to be able to do very much. The siege tanks are enveloped by all the Zealots. This force will be destroyed handedly. We've got a couple Vikings here doing some damage to the Colossi, but they're going to go down from the Stalkers and the Archon. And we got a medevac here with the Red Ghost, and now Goody has to move out from his main, and now he's just beginning to mine from his natural. It's almost depleted as well, mining from his 3rd, but now he's behind. He's behind by about 70 supply, and the economic advantage will be in his favor slightly. He's got SCVs, and he's mining from 2 bases. He was able to take out that Nexus, so Tarrantius is long distance mining, but look at that army. Look at that army supply. This is not going to work out for Goody, I don't think. There's just so many Colossi and so many Zealots here, and once Zealots get in on siege tanks, I don't have to tell you what happens. But Goody is holding his own currently. The supply deficit is leveling out just a little bit, but still behind by 60 supply. And here come the Zealots. His tanks are totally swarmed by them, and Goody knows he's going to have to tap out. There's just too many Zealots here. So Tarrantius is able to take game 1 of this best of 5 series. So I'll see you guys over at game 2.